Hey y'all, it's Jordan from Jordan Budgets. I am so excited to be doing a Great Wolf Lodge tour with you guys, and this is gonna be a little different than what you might see in some other spaces. I'm going to be doing a tour where I show you guys Great Wolf Lodge in LaGrange, which is great if you're planning on going and you want a little sneak peek. I'm also going to be sharing my complete budget, everything that we spent, and I will be sharing tons of pictures and videos of current prices at Great Wolf Lodge. So if you are like me and you like to budget whenever you plan for a trip, you are going to love this style video. I sure hope you guys like something like this. This is not a very common format to share the budget as well as the walking tour. So if you are excited about concepts like this, please go ahead and hit the like button so that I will know to make future videos like this when we do different trips, so that I can share with you how I went on these different adventures on a budget. I'm going to be jumping back and forth between showing you guys my face and showing you guys tons of different clips of us walking through Great Wolf Lodge. If you have not heard of Great Wolf Lodge yet, let me just tell you, it is one of those perfect vacations for if you have small kids, if you are low on energy, just needing a simple but amazing trip. Great Wolf Lodge was perfect. This was the first time that we had gone. My boys are 6 and 8 and we had an absolute blast. Let me tell you, Great Wolf Lodge is basically a hotel. The water park is on site. It's indoors, so you can go at any time of the year. There are restaurants on site. There's an arcade. There is putt-putt golf and a, what would you call that? Like sky ropes course? I think it's a ropes course. There's like a sky ropes course. There are some events like morning yoga. There's a midnight dance party, not midnight, but late night, maybe 10. Anyways, there's a lot to do. We had a ton of fun. So I'm gonna break down what was free, what cost us money, how much it costs, where we ate, how much that was, and all of the things. I'll start by telling you the ears are free. Everybody gets free ears. At least at the LaGrange location, which is where we went. There are different locations, so maybe they're all different. This is a spending tracker that I sell on my Etsy shop. I will link it below, but it's basically categorized out so that on your trip you can track all of the things. We're gonna start with how much I spent on preparation, then transportation, lodging, like how much Great Wolf Lodge the stay cost us, food while we were there, entertainment, and then shopping. So that's how we're gonna break everything down. And I will be giving you guys some tips and thoughts of our experience along the way of talking through this. If you see the sheets, it's just because my memory is absolutely terrible. So I make notes for myself with this kind of a video. So starting out, let me tell you, I spent $1,314 for the whole trip. I don't think that's bad at all. For myself and my 2 kids, it was for 3 nights and we were there for 4 full days. The cool thing about Great Wolf Lodge is that you can start swimming at 1 p.m. even if you don't check in until like 4 p.m. And then after you check out, you can still stay and swim and hang out. We'll just check your stuff out of the room and put it in your car, and then you can go swim and do whatever you want to do for that day. So for 4 whole days, 3 nights, I spent $1,314. So starting with preparation costs, I did spend $70 in groceries and $40 in second swimsuits for the kids. Some had mentioned in like tips, websites, and places for Great Wolf Lodge that you might want to bring a couple of swimsuits. That ended up being unnecessary, so that's $40 I would not spend again. I hung up our swimsuits every single night and they were completely dry and ready for us by the next morning. So didn't necessarily need to spend that $40, but it is $40 that I did spend. The $70 on food would definitely do it again. I only bought food for dinner and then like fun things like candy and ice cream and maybe a snack here and there. But as far as meals went, breakfast, lunch, and then most of our snacks came from that $70 that I spent before the trip. We would have spent so much more money if we had not prepped and planned ahead of time. So in that $70, I did get granola bars and beef jerky and chips and water and a ton of things that would hold us over. There are not microwaves in the room. There are mini fridges in the room, but there are microwaves on every single floor, so you can easily go outside your room, heat up some foods, and then come back. Preparation, bringing food with you definitely saved us a ton of money. Transportation, we just had gas fees for the car. I did drive myself and my kids to Great Wolf Lodge. I live on the Mississippi Gulf Coast. I drove to LaGrange, Georgia, and it was about 7.5 hours drive. I spent $133 for gas there and back, and while we were there. So do with that information what you will. All of our gas prices are, of course, going to be different, but when I was trying to figure out how much gas in general that would be, it was like 300, 500, I don't know. So just so you have some kind of a jumping point, I did spend $133 on gas. So that was our only transportation need, was gas for the car. We spent $133. Lodging. So I did purchase a premium room. We paid for 3 nights in the Grizzly Bear Suite. Now the Grizzly Bear Suite does have 2 separate rooms. I purchased the rooms that my mom paid me back for half of the cost. So the total cost for this Grizzly Bear Suite that had 2 separate rooms in it and then a combined living area for everybody to enjoy, it was $1,115. My portion of that, again, was half, and so I paid $557 for the room. $700 of that was due at the time of booking, and then $416 was due upon arrival. I do want to say with this one, some places, whenever you buy a more premium room like that and you're splitting the cost between families, it ends up being cheaper. That was not the case with Great Wolf Lodge. It actually would have been a little bit cheaper if my family and then my parents would have bought our own rooms. However, it was just us and my parents. My parents were definitely on the trip for the kids and they wanted to be with them as much as possible. So for our specific trip, it made sense to get the Grizzly Bear Suite. And I will say too, it was only maybe $30 more expensive to do that. It was not a big deal at all. So that just comes down to preference. If you are on the website and you are comparing the price that I just mentioned to what you are seeing on the website, make sure you go to the deals page and you're looking for any kind of a discount code that you can find. Every time I've looked on the Great Wolf Lodge site, they've had 40% off, 50% off, just depending on how you set up your stay. So be sure to plug in a discount code. Don't skip that step or you will be out a lot of money unnecessarily. Okay, that moves us on to the food category. Like I said, I personally only bought food for some of those special ice cream snacks, things like that, and then for dinners. So before we break down exactly what I spent and what I bought, I want to let you guys know there's something called the Wolf Wake Up Breakfast. It is currently $15 per person. I think 3 and under is free. It's a breakfast buffet. If something like that interests you, I wanted to let you know that. But again, we did not do the breakfast buffet and we did not do lunches there. There is another thing where if you purchase the dining credits before you arrive, you have to do it before you get there, then you can save money on all of your eating. So for example, if you spend $170 on dining credits before your trip starts, you will have $200 worth of dining credit money. So $170, you get $200 worth. So you're getting like $30 free. I had no idea how much food was gonna be, how much we were gonna spend, what we were up to. So I didn't do any of the dining credits. I was scared I was gonna lock myself into more than we could spend or more than I wanted to spend. But if you count all of my food costs together, I did end up spending $214. So I think the $170 purchase before my trip would have been perfect for me. I'm just showing you guys here some of the prices and some of the different locations where you can get food. I spent $5 on Dunkin' coffee the very first day for an iced coffee, but then I noticed this reusable cup for $15. You could use it on drip coffee. So I bought this pretty much right after that iced coffee and I used this for the rest of my trip. So I did spend $20 total at Dunkin' Donuts on coffee. This was refillable at several different locations in the hotel. It has the little Great Wolf Lodge logo and then the Dunkin' on the back. I will say though, I'm not sure if this is something they continued. I asked them about it because I knew that I wanted to tell you guys about it. And they said they had some boxes of these cups in the back, but they weren't sure if it was something that was going to continue. If I had to guess, it probably would not continue with the way prices have just skyrocketed on everything. But I wanted to mention it because I want you to know not only to look out for that cup, but keep an eye out for things that might be reusable or might save you money on the trip. That definitely saved me a ton of money because I live off of coffee. I personally probably refilled this cup about 10 times during those 4 days. So Definitely worth it. So for 3 meals on night 1, I spent $35. I got both the kids meals, and then I got myself a huge platter of nachos that would have been enough to feed 3 people. There are 2 restaurants that you can access outside the water park, or if you're inside the water park, I forget which is which at this point, but one of them had a platter of nachos. It was easily enough to feed 3 people, and it was like $10.99. In total, I spent $35 that night. On night 2, we ate at Longhorns. It was $44. Honestly, for that price, I could have just stayed there and got it. It was for my mom's birthday that night though, so we wanted to go off campus, if you will, and see what the town had. The town did not have much. It's a pretty small town, but they did have a Longhorns, and we spent $44 there. And then on night 3, we spent $51 on 3 shrimp po' boys. So those were really good. I will say that you get kind of mixed reviews depending on who you talk to about the food. I did not find the food quality to be bad at all. I'm certainly not a foodie. If you go into it thinking like this is theme park almost like style foods, it's great. Like, I had no complaints with the food, and I didn't think it was too poorly priced. There was at least one restaurant though that we didn't even go to that did seem pricier. And if I haven't mentioned it yet, you can find pretty much all of the food prices and food info on their website. They're pretty transparent. They also have an app. So if you are staying, for example, you can order from the app or check out prices and kind of like pre-plan. So if you are making a trip, definitely go onto the app, onto the website, and sort of pre-plan and figure out maybe what some of your costs might be for foods that you would eat. Included in this food cost of $214, we did get candy from the candy store. It was $22 for both boys to get candy. And then I have $11 in ice cream for each of them. And then we did have a couple of vending machine trips for snacks that were $14. Out of all of these food costs, snacks from the vending machine was the most preventable and the only expense I felt like we should have avoided. We each got a soda for like $3 each, and the boys got a couple candy bars for, again, like $3 each or $2 each. So I could have avoided that by just packing just a few sodas and a few candy bars, but I did not. So thankfully there are vending machines on each floor if you just want to splurge on something like that. We certainly did. $14. All right, let's move on to entertainment. Guys, they had so much fun to do. Let's first talk about what was free, because there are plenty of free activities and things to do. Of course, the first free thing is the water park. This is included in the cost of your room. There's no separate fee for entry into the water park, and I absolutely love the water park. I wish I would have gotten more videos. There were at least 6 different water slides, like big water slides. There was a nice play area for the kids and even another spot for smaller kids. There was a wave pool. I don't think I got video of the wave pool. It was something that my kids absolutely loved. We were actually so busy though that we only went to the water park a couple of times. We stayed 3 nights. I wish I would have stayed 4 nights just so that we could have utilized the water park a little bit more. Let's move on to some other free things. There were kids crafts. My kids made buttons, for example, one day, and there was a dance party at night and yoga in the morning. My kids loved all of those things, but it was super cute and would be perfect for younger kids who may not be as into the Magi Quest, which brings me to my next point. I'm calling this next section the sort of free, the semi-free. It was the Magi Quest. Okay, when all was said and done, I did end up paying $97 for Magi Quest related needs or wants. However, 80% or more of our time was filled doing this Magi Quest, okay? This was easily the highlight of the trip for my 8-year-old and for myself. We had so much fun playing this together. If you don't know how to play, because I know it can be overwhelming when you get there and you're like, what do I need? What am I doing? Please go to the Magi Quest little store and ask the people behind the desk. They will be so helpful and it is so worth it. When we first started playing, I asked them so many questions. I was like, what portal do we go to? What are we doing? I am still so lost, but we stuck it out and we had so much fun. It is basically like an adventure little quest that you are put on. You have to go to these different leaders of different worlds and help them save. You're saving different places and you're battling different bad guys. It is very, very well done, I think, and it will have you running around the entire place, but it was a blast and we spent so much time doing this. We actually completed the first Magi quest. There are 2 quests at this point because they do have a new one, but the first quest, like I said, probably took up 80% of our time there. My 6-year-old was not as into the quest. We did go ahead and buy him a wand, and they have like a younger kids function where whenever they wave around their wand to these different little portals and things, a cute little animal will run out, or it will give them, you know, air quotes here, it will give them magic coins and let them play along in a much simpler way. So that's enough of the Magi quest. It was amazing. Absolutely would want to go back, if not for anything else, for the Magi quest so that he can do the second quest, or so we could do it. I had a lot of fun too. In addition to that, they did have a rock sifting area. This is something that my 6-year-old absolutely loved, was the highlight of his trip. I will say I bought the family bag. Let me show you guys a comparison. If you are looking up online prices, I honestly don't even know what the smaller bag is, but this is the standard bag and this is the family bag. So the standard bag is 3 pounds of play dirt. Of course, if you've ever done one of these sifting things, it has dirt in it, it has rocks and special goodies in it. The child pours it into the sifter and sifts it around and gets out their treasures, right? So my parents ended up buying this for my younger son before I even had a chance to purchase something myself, but the family bag is 10 pounds, the smaller bag is 3 pounds. If you have a larger family, or if you have a child who is obsessed with this like my youngest is, I would recommend just getting the family bag. I paid $38 for this and it lasts both of my kids a couple of times. So I poured out about 1/4 of the bag. I poured it out for one kid, took another 1/4 of the bag, poured it out for my other kid, and then I zipped it up and I brought it back to the room with us. They got to sift around and get out some special rocks that day. Well, the next night comes around and I brought this out and I dumped out again another 1/4 of the bag, and then the final 1/4 of the bag. So I would say this would easily stretch between like 6 kids. I made it last for my boys for 2 different trips each, but only because I didn't want to carry this back down the 3rd night. We just made it last 2 nights. As far as price goes though, $38 for the family bag and then getting basically 4 different turns out of it. Could have even stretched it to 6 turns. Much better price point than getting the smaller bag and it just lasting 1 turn. Another thing that we did pay for was the rock wall. So my kids went 3 times. My oldest son wanted to do it twice. My younger son just did it once. It was $25 total for them to do 3 trips. And then the obstacle course, my oldest son wanted to do that 1 time. He got to do, there was 2 different levels, like a smaller level and then a larger level for the obstacle course. He was able to do both sides. I don't know if that's normal or if they usually just get one side for the $17. I will say on this one too, if you think that your kid is going to want to do the obstacle course a lot, there is a price for $30 or $28. I'll post signs here so you guys can see prices if I have that information, but there is a set price you can pay. Say it's $28 and your child or that one person who has that specific wristband is able to do their obstacle course or the ropes course as much as they want to. If you think your kid is going to want to do it more than once, or if you want to do it more than once, look into doing that one price instead of paying per time that you do it. We are almost done, guys. If you have made it all the way through this and you are interested in budgeting or you're interested in seeing future budget trips like this, please go ahead and subscribe. We would love to have you as a part of our community, so that would be amazing. Let's talk about some things we didn't do because I just found them to be a little bit out of the budget or not exactly what we wanted. Just because I'm saying we didn't do it though, doesn't mean you should completely count it out. Just keep this in mind when you're considering my personal budget. We did not do the yards, which seems to be sort of a virtual playing field while you eat. So for example, I don't know if you guys know what I'm talking about, but it has like a screen and you might have a soccer ball where you kick it into the screen and you're trying to get into the goal that is on the screen. What is that called? Or it could be golf, or it could be baseball. I don't know. I looked into it briefly because I do think that's something my 8-year-old would like. It was very expensive though, and it was a per hour thing, not per like 3 hours. I want to say per hour it was like $50 or something, and the intention is that you would be eating while you play. So I kind of felt like by the time my kids started to eat, we would already be on like hour 2, much less trying to play during that time. So I just didn't think it was gonna work for us. We also did not play 10 Paw Alley, which is basically a smaller laned bowling alley. There's no real reason we did not play this one. It just, we never made it to it. We got too busy. I think it would have been fun. We stayed busy the whole time. I think it would have been a ton of fun, but we needed just a little bit longer to fit that one in. We did not go to the arcade. The arcade was a decent sized arcade, but it seemed very pricey. And I had heard from other people online that they lost so much money in that because each game was just so expensive. So I told my kids if they did not ask me a single time about the arcade, then we would go to Chuck E. Cheese when we got home. So they didn't ask me a single time about the arcade, and we went to Chuck E. Cheese like later in the month. So another thing we did not do was Build-A-Bear. They did have a very cute Build-A-Bear in there. My kids were not interested. When we went shopping, which I'm about to transition to, they did give us 2 Build-A-Bear little guys for free. It was like for each $40 you spent, you got a free Build-A-Bear that was already put together for you. So we got 2 of them for free. So that was nice, didn't have to buy it. Build-A-Bear is reminding me right next to Build-A-Bear, there is a free little like hangout spot where the kids do the crafts, and then there's an outside little play area as well. So those were free. Completely forgot to mention them till this moment. Shopping. So like I already mentioned, I did spend $22 at the candy store, and then total for Magic Quest was $97. But let me explain for a second that Magic Quest was, most of that was optional spending. The actual game did not cost $97. In that $97, I was able to get a wand and a little topper to go on the wand to play the game. And then when my son completed the quest, I bought him a Magic Quest cape and then 2 large medallions from the Magic Quest store so that he could keep one as a little memorabilia of completing that quest, and so he would have one to give to his little brother. Other spending I did on this trip was $9 on a mood bracelet from the Magic Quest store, $12 from TJ Maxx. That is from when we took a little trip off campus, and I got the boys a couple little toys to play with. And then I did spend $103 on birthday presents for my mom from the main shop, which is called Buckhorn Exchange Gift Shops. Included in that $1,314 total, we did have some like birthday meal, birthday presents included in that. So that is it for this video, guys. Again, let me know in the comments what you think. Give this video a thumbs up if you would like to see more budget walking tours, is sort of what I'm calling them at this point. If you feel like I missed any main highlights, please feel free to ask questions in the comments, or even give me tips for future videos of what you would like to see from these vacation budget walkthroughs. So that is it for today's video. As always, I love you guys, I appreciate you, and I will see you again soon. Bye-bye.